Oh, why, hello there, humans. Welcome to my realm. I'm the Monster Deacon, and today we're going to be talking about the Wendigo from Until Dawn. Now, before I begin, this video is about the Wendigo, not the Wenawoo or Winnebago. So I'm sorry, Scooby-Doo fans and car enthusiasts, but this may not be the video for you. But I still hope you continue watching and you enjoy. Now, before I begin, I would like to make two things clear. One, this is not a review of the gameplay, and two, there will be spoilers for the game. The game is a pick-your-adventure horror game. The idea is based on the butterfly effect, where every choice you make from those given and how well you do during quick-time events affects the game's outcome. There is a task or items to collect called totems, and these give you hints on how some storylines will play out based on your choices. And you end up playing as every member of the group of friends. Seeing as there are a lot of characters and most of them are humans, I shall use the names of those who play a part in the mythos. Everyone else is a meat bag. Now, let's begin. In Until Dawn, you are given 3 threats from the start of the game, 2 at the very start during your intro gameplay, and 1 at the year later mark where the bulk of the game takes place. These 3 threats are 1. A flamethrower wielding a mountain dweller I shall call free range meat, an unknown beast to which a video is about, so be patient, and 3. A masked killer who I should love to have for dinner sometime. The 3 humans I am now going to name are Josh, the insane human who I see as the true victim of this world, Hannah, one of Josh's twin sisters, and Beth, the other of Josh's twin sisters. Many years ago, when the Cree lived on this land, they told stories of a demon, a spirit born of ice that dwells deep in the mountain. To dig into the earth was to risk awakening the spirit. They also believed that to kill an animal on the land was bad luck and could incur the wrath of the Wendigo. So they hunted and killed off the mountain lands. Then came the white man, forcing the Cree to leave, and they took the land for themselves. When the white man came, they began to mine. They came for tin and found uranium, so they dug deeper into the mountain to gouge out as much of the resources as they could. But one day they hit the spot where evil slumbered. A cave-in happened, and a group of miners are stuck underground. Once they had run out of food and starvation set in, they began to eat the dead. Once they did, the Wendigo was awakened, and it could take hold of them, making the survivors' hunger grow until the darkness of their appetite was beyond compare. Then they became the beast, the monster, the Wendigo. Once the cave was cleared, the Wendigo were released to go forth and feed on all who dwelled on the mountain lands. Alas, due to sheer numbers of humans, the newly freed Wendigo was subdued and locked away in a place where humans would not cross them by accident. The strongest of these was called Makapichu. Makapichu, are you serious? The reason I say are you serious is because that's a bit on the nose for a monster's name, because Makapichu translates to he who has long teeth. Nonetheless, the strongest of these was called Makapichu, and it managed to avoid 2 generations of hunters. In the game, there are 2 types of Wendigo. They are distinctly separated by how old they are. When did they come into existence? Type 1 is Makapichu. This one we have spoken of before. He is one of the miners who was caught in the original mine collapse, and when freed was possessed by the spirit and went forth on an eating and killing spree. The second one has more of a nuanced backstory that is related to the plot of the game. It's not much of the plot of the game, but it does spoil some parts, so if you do not wish to be spoiled about what happens, please skip to this time code. The second type of Wendigo. In the beginning, a year ago, before the events of the game took place, the entire group of human characters were having a group vacation. Two of these people were twin sisters, and one of these sisters became the subject of a prank. I will not go into the specifics of the prank, but let's say it was not good. She ended up running into the woods, her sister followed her, and soon after they disappeared. They were never seen again. When in reality what happened was they fell down an embankment, a very steep and deep one, where their cries could not be heard and where they could not get out. They had broken their legs, they had been battered, they had been bruised, and one of them died. In order for the other to survive, she had to eat her sister. When she did this, she partaked in cannibalism, which is the prerequisite for this type of Wendigo to possess you. So she became possessed and became one of the many Wendigo that travel this mountain looking for the next snack. In the game, such as everything, there are rules that the Wendigo must obey. These rules are: the Wendigo can only possess someone who has partaken in cannibalism, which means they have to have eaten the dead or a part of a living person. A Wendigo bite can also act as a conduit for the Wendigo to take over. If you were to eat something after being bitten, say like a human arm or torso, you would become a Wendigo. The bite, other than it being able to infect you, is harmless. There is no counter effect of infection, blood loss, or anything of that line. It's just a conduit for them to take over. As for killing a Wendigo, you are explicitly told not to, because to kill a Wendigo is to release its spirit into the world, allowing it to circle the mountain, looking for a new host. As for killing a Wendigo fully, you are told that you can only use fire. Fire is the only thing that will destroy this monster. Without it, it will continue circling, looking for a new host to continue the cycle. Amount of Wendigo? Quite a few. One Machu and the other being Hannah. As you can see, the appearance of the Wendigo in its corporeal solid form is one of that of humanoid. It's very skinny, with large open jaw, long sharp teeth, long claws. The skin is almost stretched over the failed frame, and the eyes are milky white. It seems to prefer hunting in enclosed spaces. Is able to sense the slightest movement, and has extremely fast reflexes. It does appear, however, that their sense of smell and hearing and most of their sight is completely stunted, only being able to see motion. This, in my opinion, makes the monster easier to handle. Those are the in-game mythology about the Wendigo, everything that is shed from the story. Now, the Native American mythos is slightly different, and here we go. The Wendigo is a spirit, can be classed as a dark spirit, but most spirits are neither good or evil, they just are. The Wendigo is a spirit of the deep winter, where the hunts are slight, crops are low, and the food stores are empty. It is the spirit of hunger, desperation, and of the darkest cold nights. It has no solid form, so their taste of food or the feeling of joy from eating your fill is lost to them. The only way it can even touch the never-ending hunger is to find a human host and taste the world through them. How it gains a host? It travels the lands until it finds a place where humans are starving and food will not be coming soon. It finds groups and then finds a single person, someone who is rapt by hunger, whose will is weak and whose mind can be pushed over the edge. When it has found them and pushed their mind over, the Wendigo spirit enters the human host and drives the victim to feed. As for the Wendigo appearance in mythology, unlike the gameplay, the Wendigo from Mythos has two forms. Form 1. Incorporeal. The Wendigo is a giant creature, standing taller than any human, travels on all fours but can stand and move like a human. The body is that of a deer, the size of a bear, but is emaciated, with a deer skull filled with sharp, cold teeth. While in this form it has little power, having no real effect on the world, and can only push a human over the edge and not lead them to it. Now, as for the Native American mythology, there are no signs, totems, or carvings that can protect you from a Wendigo possession, but there is a dance. When it's performed and the Wendigo spirit is nearby, it will see a bunch of happy people with no groans of hunger and thus move on. Once a Wendigo has taken over, however, there is only one thing you can do. Lure the Wendigo into a trap and seal it away. The Wendigo will consume its host, but it will take a few days, giving the tribe time to find a source of food. You then have its corporeal form, its solid form. This is when it gains a host. It turns the host into a human hunting machine, able to see in the dark and the light, able to hunt via smell, sound, and sight. Its skin becomes dry and tight on the flesh that is being slowly eaten away, retracting around the mouth and eyes that give the huge teeth and wide open. The Wendigo is also smart, able to mimic voices of those it has eaten to lure people out of the camps and off the path. The Wendigo hunts in the open. Rarely will they enter camps or buildings for any reason. They fear fire and like space to move. In my opinion, the mythos from the game does not hold up nor reflect the legend that it's based on. The monster held within it is not the Wendigo. However, the mythos of the monster in the game does lend itself to another monster from legend, that being the Rougarou. The Rougarou is a creature from French legends, but is also found in the southern US states like the French quarters of Louisiana. My reasoning is thus, while obeying the in-game rules for the monster. 1. The Rougarou is a being that closely resembles the Wendigo in its description and how they came into being. It matches specifically the description of the monster in Until Dawn. 2. They are either people who are close blood relatives of the original or someone who was bitten by a Rougarou. 3. Only when a Rougarou dies does the next one awaken, so kill one and another takes its place, either a relative or one of its previous victims who survived. Pretty much how the Wendigo in Until Dawn takes over a new host. 4. They have a never-ending hunger that drives them to eat whatever they can. They crave meat. It can be any kind of meat, but once they consume human flesh, their inner monster takes over and all they will eat is human flesh. Once the monster has taken over, their skin starts getting taut on their body, revealing their teeth, revealing their eyes, losing all of their hair. the exact creature we see in Until Dawn. And as for its hunting practices, it is pretty much like a beast. It will use smell, hearing, and sight, but its sight is limited to movement. And that is the monster I think that more closely resembles the creature in Until Dawn. So, in conclusion, the monster in Until Dawn is a Rougarou who I now need to wrangle and re-educate because he has been impersonating a Wendigo, and believe me, they'd rather face me than the Wendigo. So until next time, my fellow friendly fiends, stay creepy, and I hope you have a good time.